We expect the start of the school year to be full of excitement, but for a massive percentage of students, the return to campus triggers an immediate physical reaction, a tight stomach on the bus ride in, or a sudden, unexplained inability to sleep. What happens in the first 30 days of the academic calendar maps out the exact psychological trajectory for the rest of the year. It is incredibly common for adults to see those early morning tears at drop-off or the sudden teenage insomnia and label them as standard back-to-school jitters. Brushing those warning signs aside allows internal tension to build. Left unchecked, that quiet distress starts seeking a louder exit point as the semester wears on. Before the first grading period even closes, the timeline starts working against the school. Staff capacity is usually stretched to its absolute limit within weeks. This timeline shows what happens to that early anxiety by October. What started as quiet worry in September morphs into loud, classroom-stopping behavioral crises. The adults in the building are navigating their own brutal transition during this stretch. Treating staff wellness as a separate initiative ignores the fact that teacher burnout directly feeds into the building's overall stress levels. To maintain control of a school environment through the spring, administration has to identify and interrupt those subtle warning signs before October 1st. The problem is that student distress rarely looks like sadness. In a school environment, it presents as masked anxiety. For younger students, the loudest alarm bell is usually physical. A recurring visit to the nurse's office for a stomachache that has no underlying medical cause is a textbook presentation of separation anxiety. Across different age groups, the camouflage changes. You might see a total withdrawal from peers, highly concentrated among students new to the district, or older teenagers suddenly reporting a complete loss of their normal sleep schedule. Even early behavioral infractions, the ones that end up as office discipline referrals, frequently turn out to be straight panic responses when a clinician actually assesses the student. When schools treat a psychological response as a physical ailment or a disciplinary problem, they throw away the only reliable window they have for early intervention. Even when a student clearly asks for help in September, the traditional school support pipeline often breaks down structurally. On this referral flowchart, a student's path to care is routinely blocked by administrative hurdles, muddy communication chains, and provider backlogs, creating a 6-week delay before clinical access. While the student sits in that queue, their distress does not pause. The anxiety compounds. A referral submitted in September that finally results in a therapy session by mid-November does exactly nothing to help the student who was crying out for support 6 weeks ago. The districts avoiding this bottleneck bypass the traditional referral maze entirely by structuring their support systems in August. They build around 3 specific pillars: structured early check-ins with students, a clear referral pathway that every single teacher can name off the top of their head, and immediate, on-demand clinical access. This rapid response architecture is exactly what MentalSpace School provides for districts across Georgia. They partner with districts to assign dedicated teletherapy teams to specific schools. This gives administration a HIPAA and FERPA-compliant mechanism for same-day crisis response, active family counseling, and direct wellness support for the staff. They also remove the typical financial roadblocks by accepting broad commercial insurance, while ensuring students on Medicaid receive care for $0. This framework functions as a systemic circuit breaker. It shifts a district's entire strategy away from just possessing resources and toward the sheer speed of deploying them. Fast forward to the final months of the academic year, and the physical reality of these two approaches is stark. The reactive district spends its spring semester entirely on the defensive, managing an endless string of behavioral escalations with a staff that is already completely burned out. In contrast, the proactive district that front-loaded its mental health architecture in August reaps the compounding benefits of an emotionally regulated student body. These bar charts show the specific reported outcomes of the rapid response model: an 89% improvement in attendance, a 92% reduction in measured anxiety, and an 85% rating of family satisfaction. Catching a student's distress on the exact day they ask for help alters both their personal well-being and their academic trajectory for the rest of the year. Effective school mental health support is a logistical challenge of speed and access, rather than a raw numbers game of how many resources exist on paper. As Georgia mental health legislation continues to evolve, district leaders need specialized, rapid response systems and should consult their own counsel on specific statutory obligations to ensure compliance. Treating the first 30 days at school as a critical, high-velocity intervention window changes lives. To build that capability into your district, contact MentalSpace today.